Are you wanting to know how to lay out an IKEA kitchen without using the IKEA Kitchen planner? Are you an architect or designer that has access to a CAD system or can even do like paper templating? Well, in this video, we're going to show you how to do that. So for those that don't know, IKEA is a very popular furniture store with a heavy basis on selling kitchens and closets and things of that nature. It's very DIY friendly. It's the lowest cost you're probably going to get for that kind of quality. There's a lot of third-party people out there that will come out to your house and depending on factors you may not even be aware of, jack up the price quite a bit for kitchens. And at the same of the day, at the end of the day, it's the same kind of materials. If you want to go like real crazy, like six-figure land for a kitchen, sure, sky's the limit. But for normal people, you can put these kitchens in very high-end, houses, apartments, what have you, and it really doesn't matter. From a common person to Jeff Bezos could walk in there, buy a cabinet. It's the same price for everyone, so it's very transparent on the cost. But just showing some photos. Of course, our family's taken quite a few trips to IKEA, and we have an IKEA kitchen ourselves in our house. I've done previous videos showing how to install the cabinets and tips and tricks, but this one's more on the layout. So this is a typical cabinet that they got in their showroom, and by all means, try to find an IKEA near you and go there and experience it for yourself. These displays are really what the selling factor is. If you just saw this online, it doesn't have the same wow factor as seeing it in person. But in this video, I'm going to give you insights into layouts. Going through it, of course, with IKEA, careful how you pronounce things because you might summon the old one. Everything's in Swedish. Here's a picture of our kitchen. It was, while it was underway, getting the house all wrapped up. But we went with their Lahattan, I think is how it's pronounced. It's their black shaker cabinet, uses actual ash and has a stain on it. And you can replicate that with things like oak and things if you need custom trim panels or buy trim materials from them. But what we did here is we were buying their pre-finished doors and doing purely assembly. This is showing a video or a picture a little later on with the hardware installed. And we did, what do you call it, stone coat countertops, which is an epoxy system for the countertops as well. Everyone's very impressed. I think it's some boutique custom kitchen when they come into our house, and it's all basically DIY kind of stuff. This is showing that same series of cabinets in their showroom. It's quite a bit darker. Of course, our house has a lot of white in it, so it doesn't really show that much. Or it shows it a little more contrast, I should say, where this one's very dark in this particular photo compared to what we actually have. Let's see here. But getting into the details, it's important to know that IKEA cabinets, when they give you dimensions, these are true dimensions. They're not like, a 2x4 is not a 2x4, it's 1.5 by 3.5. So in construction, a lot of things are misnomers with their sizes. But with IKEA, the numbers are what the numbers are. So you can use that as the basis of your planning. Now they do have this online tool called the IKEA Kitchen Planner. I've ran all kinds of CAD systems and various things in the past, and I found it a little clunky. It's one of those things that's meant for someone that's never done this kind of stuff before. But if you have access to any kind of like AutoCAD or anything like that, or even just doing paper templates, as long as everything's done to one-to-one scale, you should be good. So this is showing you that if you want to use the IKEA Kitchen Planner, there are other videos out there for that. But let's see here, jumping into the actual, let's see here, there's the main IKEA website. And then if you like Google search IKEA Kitchen cabinets, you'll get in the base cabinets or the upper cabinets. So when you're going through them, like this one right here, it's a 24 by 24 by 30. And this is kind of the same series we have where it's a 5-inch drawer on top, a 10 in the middle, and a 15 on the bottom. So you go and click on that. And now you can start going through, and the price, this is what's nice about this. You're never going to get this level of price transparency from some kitchen designer. They're going to look at how you dress, what kind of car you drive, what neighborhood you live in, and it's a very infuriating process near the end of your build. So it's good a company like IKEA is there to just show you, hey, you want this? You're going to be paying $96 more for this particular item. And you're the one that has your foot on the price gas pedal here with IKEA, which is it's huge when you actually go through this process. So let's see here. This is the one we went with. Of course, it is an expensive cabinet, but by doing it yourself and not having a middleman involved, you save a ton of money. So that set, the Lurhattan, that's for the door style. A lot of the cost is in the doors. And then these are real wood doors with like a high density MDF or particle board box structure, and actually has metal, what do you call it, metal pull-out drawers, and very high quality. We were renting in a track home that had just the cheapest kitchen hardware, and people give IKEA a hard time, but when you know about it and actually understand what it is miles above like what you get in like a Lennar or Coulter, base level track home package. It's very many higher levels of quality above. And they also have a lot of inserts and other things. But anyway, just showing you how the website here works. We've selected a color, and you'll have to figure that out for whatever you want to do with your own project, what makes sense to you. Then there's additional things. Now this is kind of a la carte, so you got to go, get things like the rail, the feet, things of that nature. Next thing is when you need different sizes. The same thing as you change the colors or the sizes or the features, there's various types of, it's either going to cost more or less based on size. And then things like a laminated door front is going to cost less than something like this where it's actual real wood and stained. Looking at these are the dimensions I was talking about earlier. So the 30 on the end is the height, and then the 24, let's see here. And you can get into more details like what is width, length, and height. But this one's like 24 inches deep, 24 inches wide. Let's go into something that we know more, like a 30. So this one's almost $500, but it's 30 inches wide, 24 inches deep. So these are the lowers, and then I'm going to show you, just got to pull up the file. Now again, this will work with any kind of CAD system that will do actual, real dimensions on things. And I looked at the series of cabinets that I wanted to look at, and I just drew them at actual scale. So if we do a distance on this 24-inch pull-out cabinet, we see it's 24 inches. And you could do this with paper templates as well. But we're going to go look at the lower plan. So you start with a plan here, and this is our kitchen. It is kind of odd because it goes outside. It's like an outside L versus like normally like in a corner. It's just how the house worked out. But the first thing you actually start with is common dimensions for things like ovens, microwaves, dishwashers. And on this one, we have the oven, which is 30 inches wide or 2'6". Right here, it's not labeled, but it's a dishwasher at 24 inches. We got a microwave around the corner because we did not want to do the overhead microwave. And the microwave that sits above the oven is also 30 inches. So that shows you, some of your foundational items. You got to figure out where you want to place those within your kitchen. Our particular house has a lot of symmetry to it, so you have a sight line that looks right down the symmetric family room and kitchen, where you're looking right at the oven and right at the, what do you call it, oven area. I'll see if I can pull up a picture here of it back to the thing. Yeah, so when you're looking head on this, you got the oven here, and we're going to have a fancy little range hood on here. And we have a conventional microwave, but it's around the corner where you can't see it from the main area. There's other things like the microwave, or sorry, the refrigerator, which is 3 feet wide or 36 inches. And you got to understand what the appliances are and the appliance grades you want to work with. If you're going to have something like I forget the name of it, but those panel fridges in the very expensive houses that let this, the appliances can really add up very quickly. Like if you have a double wall oven, anything exotic, the cost can really go up quickly on this stuff. At the time of me making this video, I think we had under $5,000 in appliances for this house, all bought new from various few different companies. We went with LG on everything except for the dishwasher, which is Bosch, just for it being quiet. And we like the features of it, and also you don't see it from the main focal point because if you are sensitive to like a higher end house, you want your appliances to match in general when it is visible. But sometimes that may not be an option. Like some of these big giant panel fridges, those ones are like 4 feet wide, may not be available for an oven or something like that. You might have like a Viking oven or something very expensive. Again, we're going with LG on this house, and it's worked out fairly well. But once you have everything laid out like so, then you got to figure out what will fill the space. So on our particular house, when you start looking at the widths, it's like a 15, um, 24, 30, 36, and you can go through and look at what makes sense for what you're trying to do. We are trying to have these pull-out drawers on the bottom. It does cost more money, but it's so much more functional when you go to actually pull things out. Let's see here. I'll pull up another picture here. So this is showing these drawers pulled out, and you can organize everything really well. And as you get older, it's very helpful to have these drawers just for organization in general. But yeah, once you know what you got, you're going to only have certain sizes of cabinets. And these are a lot of the common ones right here that I was able to find that was available with our door style. It is important to know that the door style isn't available for every size. There's like that bird egg blue one that has limitations on what you can actually get. So whether you're doing it in CAD or on paper, just make everything full scale. And then I just did like a little symbol right here, just to show that's a drawer pull out. And then here we have our conventional doors. And normally you start with the bottom because that's where the oven is. You got to think about the oven placement. And of course, this all goes back to the planning stage when the house is originally planned. It's hard to do this later, or if you're trying to do a remodel, you got to understand where's your 240 volt power coming in for your oven. To move that, it's copper is expensive. You need an electrician, and it's heavy gauge wire to move it somewhere else. Things like the microwave too. So this was, of course, new build going on here, but we planned this very early on where things had to go. So it's just showing these objects, and I can go around and slide them into place. You can actually like click on it. Let's see here, group command, and like I can move it out of the way. But this is showing the position of everything. The other thing to consider is tolerances. So between where the oven is centered on the wall and the end of the wall is 4'9" and a half, which results in having a gap, which you do want to have. You don't want to be lining these things up and expecting everything to fit perfect, because you do need to account for a little bit of wiggle room for tolerances. The plans versus the real house. And here that gap is 3.5 inches. So we need like a 3.5 inch trim board right here on the end just to cover that area. Going around to other sides here, we got like the 18-inch drawers right here. Something to consider is these drawers are a lot stronger than, the real cheap stuff they put in these track houses, but weight is a factor for what you're putting into it. So our silverware is in these 18-inch drawers, and it's basically the same side rails, same structural load capability. So if you go with like a 36-inch wide pull-out drawer, and try to load it up with a lot more weight. It's really the limiting factor is the attachment hardware. So I always prefer these smaller ones for wherever your silverware is going to go and things of that nature because it throws a lot of weight into it. And the track house we were staying in, we had like a 3 foot wide pull-out drawer, and we put all our silverware in it, and it had those cheap C-shaped rails, and it just popped it out of the rail all the time, and the drawer kept on like falling out. It was a very frustrating experience. Of course, going with IKEA and going with a narrower drawer, you're limited on how much weight you can put in it. So hopefully that makes sense, the logic behind why you'd want to do something like that. Looking at some other things. So there's a lot of emphasis on these bottom drawers. They also have the conventional French door, butterfly drawer at lower cost. And we do have some of those in here, like here. Now, showing the original picture, we have a full slab island, so our electrical power comes out the side. That is something to consider as well. So if you have these slide out drawers, getting an electrical box in there is going to fight the drawers. So if you go with like a French door cabinet like so, you can put your electrical outlet right where my cursor is, and it's not a challenge. So that's something to think about if you need to put an electrical box on the side. Don't do it with a drawer style for your layout. Looking at what else there is, the kitchen sink. There's a 30-inch wide oven, but then the sink is 36 inches. They're both on the center line, so it starts pushing things out. Then we have our dishwasher here, which is 24 inches wide. So that's mirrored with a 24-inch drawer on the side. And then we have 30s on the end to fill it out. So it's just playing numbers with these different sizes of what's going to fill the space of what you got to work with. Now, of course, going with more of these smaller cabinets, like 218s, is going to cost more than a 36. So that's something to consider as well if you have a lot of space to work out with. Let's see here, jumping in. Here's the upper. So you can see the microwaves around the corner. And then on the top, it's all butterfly drawers. Again, this island has no uppers. It's see-through. And same thing over here where the silverware is. There's a window there. So that's just showing all the sizes and shapes. And then I even did like a frontal view of it. This can help. And of course, the IKEA Kitchen Planner will show you this as well. It'll show you like actual 3D renderings. But if you're doing this over and over again, you can just move these templates around, work with symmetry, work with classical kind of kitchen layouts. Pinterest is a huge inspiration for like looking at kitchens to get ideas. Here you can see like what the idea is to have it when whatever you call it, the kitchen is fully done. Let me pull up that picture again. So you can compare that to what it is right now. And of course you can put the crown molding on top, all these other things. So this is showing you like frontal views. And again, this is all done with groups. I'm using a CAD software called Rhino, which is kind of a derivative of AutoCAD back in the day with a lot more advanced stuff. It can do very advanced 3D surfacing, but I use it for everything. I have the full commercial seat of it. And you can use these groups. So everything's done with groups in here, and you just make it once and you copy paste it, similar to that video I did on Block Course, where you model an object. In this case, it's just in 2Ds, and then I bring it in and put everything together, and I got a decent representation of what it would look like in a drawing. So those are all those features. Trying to think of other hacks to tell you guys. The sink, we got that from what's the name of the place? It was at Amazon, and it was a Kraus sink, and underhung as well. But we did the stone coat epoxy system. So let's see here. I'll pull that up on the. Let me pull that open here real quick on the Google. Let's see here. Stone Coat Countertops. These guys have a YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description with that. But My wife and I really liked what these guys did, and they really do look impressive in person. There's so many different ways you can do things. We did this veining technique on ours, and we bought their kit, and it worked out really well. You got to do some testing, on like a sample board just to get what you want to make sure you're getting what you want. There's Mitch. He says, "You got this." But yeah, that's the website showing, and they'll use it for showers, countertops. You can do like something like a. There's more things you can do with this epoxy system than you can with a laminate, where the laminate has the backsplash that's integrated, and how do you deal with the edges? Where this one, you can make a full, underhung sink. You can do, this is a farm sink shown here. You can do islands, all these different kinds of kitchen stuff without the restrictions of something like a laminate countertop. And it did come in at like 1/10 the cost of a whatever you call it, like hiring a granite company. The other thing too is this kitchen island is huge. It's 12 feet long and it's 3.5 foot wide. So just getting a piece of granite that big up into the house and then having a big sink cut out in the middle without a seam in it, it'd probably have to be done in 2 parts, maybe 3 parts, and it would have cost an absolute fortune. Which, when you're doing a house after the pandemic, cost starts to get out of control really quick and it gets really bad near the end. So things like IKEA cabinets can be a lifesaver, along with something to throw it out there, the stone coat countertops. I'm trying to see, there you can see the countertops right there. And a lot of people swear it's actual granite or marble. Of course, things like our floor, no one says anything about that, but that's basically a fancy photograph of marble, and is sold by Home Depot as a porcelain tile. So even the a lot of these things are synthetic patterns. So let's see here. But yeah, something to think about. You can be a purist and go with, granite. That's your choice. But yeah, this is just showing how to lay it out on a CAD system. Again, you build all your little pieces, and on Rhino, it's a group command. And from here, I can hit the alternate button and the arrow on the gumball to slide it. And I'll just show you, like over here, if I wanted to make a real quick little example. Just move it over. You can do things like copy or move. And there you go. And just say you wanted to repeat this thing. You could do a copy. And you had a wall. Let's see here. So it just goes to show you, and you deal with these real objects in real space, or I should say a dimensionally accurate object in real space. And it'll let you know what's going to fit there and not fit there. And don't forget the gaps for sure. Make sure you got a gap to work with on everything you do. These are kind of large. You can play with the numbers. You could swap this over to maybe a 21 and just have a good understanding of what's available on the website too. Let me go back to the website. Here's the base. So again, pay close attention to, it's a combination of things. So again, IKEA doesn't offer every door style and available in every size, except for maybe like basic white. But again, look at these numbers, understand what's available for that door set. Go over here and we can go to kitchen, SEK base cabinet, well, it's Skeleton, I think is what they call it. Again, be careful about summoning the old one. So here's some uppers. That's a single door. Here's a double door. So we'll do the same exercise again here. And the planner does have all these things on it. It's just I found it kind of cumbersome and clunky to work with myself. Yeah, there's 329, and then this is a 30-inch wide cabinet, and then you can choose, like say you wanted a 24-inch wide cabinet. And the uppers are 15 inches. That's something else I need to show you as well. Um, minus 33. So yeah, these are like the two sizes we had for the uppers and lowers. Of course, check out the other videos I did on IKEA cabinets, just like hanging them on the wall and so forth. But yeah, coming around, these upper cabinets are 15 inches deep. Distance is shown at 22 inches. Sorry for the confusion there. Sorry, I gotta go up to the uppers. Okay, so we're on the upper plan here, 15 inches. That's another thing to point out too, is start with the lowers and then make an upper plan. So it should be at least 2 sheets when you're working on everything, three if you want a view. And you could plan all this stuff and then have like a handyman put it together. I mean, that everything's, once you figure out the first cabinet, the rest of it's just rinse and repeat. So let's see here. What I was going to talk about. Oh yes, the microwave, 15 inches deep. So there was a warning on our brand new LG microwave to not, if you have something over 13 inches, you're going to have a problem. So try to dry fit it with some boxes underneath your microwave if that's the case, and make sure your door can swing properly. What we ended up doing is putting a 2x4 structure on the back here, bolted into the wall. And then we used a stud finder for that too. I'll throw a description on that. Definitely be very careful where the electricity is and where your studs are. And then we threw another 1/2 inch piece of plywood. So we had 2 inches of push out to get that microwave sitting at the right distance out from the cabinets. And then when the microwave swings open, it has to clear the door next to it and the hardware on the hinge side of the microwave. So these are the things I can think about. I also helped my dad do an IKEA kitchen cabinet setup for his place too. His is a little more conventional, and he elected to go with a 24-inch deep one above the fridge, which is a nice feature. Ours is just a standard depth on that, but this is showing you all the features, so hopefully this is making sense for everybody. Definitely check out all the different options. They have things like trash pullouts if you want that, the multi-drawers. You could do like a 5-inch deep drawer all the way down, 215s, whole kinds of variety of stuff. But I would highly encourage anyone that is interested, go to the IKEA showroom, and they got these things. Again, this Lahatan black is one of their higher end options. But they got price points all over the place. And if you can go with something that's a synthetic, like this is just a white face sheet on it. There's no real wood there that needs staining or anything like that. So like this basic white would be the cheapest thing you're going to get. But they got a lot of options. So they got other door styles too. Ours is a little more conventional, but they have this style, and these will pop open like a garage door or like a hangar door for you to get things into. And sometimes they'll mix and match colors, but they always have good ideas there. You can go through and say, oh, I want something like this. And you want to grab the name of the color series. So like there's the one we have, black stained. It talks about it. Now, of course, this price point is from a few years ago. It's gone up since then. But compared to any other option out there, this is one of the most solid ways to go forward. And most of the U.S. has an IKEA within a few hours of, any location for the continental United States. Trying to see if there's anything else to show you guys here. Yeah, it's definitely worth it to make the trip and look at the cabinets in person and just their setup, and it'll give you a lot of inspiration on what you can do. Again, this is for someone that is DIY capable. A screwdriver from a hammer, and then if you have access to any kind of CAD system that can work with 1-to-1 scale, or even paper templates. Like my dad doesn't know CAD, but he's done his construction career using paper templates at 1-to-1 scale, doing things, and he's figured things out from there. So it works either way. You just deal with real dimensions and real values, and make sure you're putting something in the space that will fit. You don't want to get into trying to put 10 pounds of stuff into a 1-pound bag. So you got to be honest from that perspective. and know what's really going to fit in there and avoid any surprises, because it's still going to be a chunk of change to pull this off in the end. So hopefully this gives you everything you need to know. Check out those other videos and links in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this has helped anyone in the process of figuring out how to do their own kitchen in their own house. So best of luck.